Okay, welcome back to Dominion 6 with Ohm and our boar god. Yes. All right, so hopefully you have retained some of the things that I have said last time, and hopefully I have retained some of the things I said last time. I learned a little bit more specifically about gods and dominion and things like that. And I would say I probably made a slight mistake when I made our boar god. Specifically, well, actually, I don't know. I don't even know what I set. It doesn't show it here now. But, maybe I set this at an okay number. I don't know. But basically, Dominion strength of your pretender god when you first create it. It must be... Actually, I don't know. Because that increased by the temple, maybe? I don't know. I must have set it at 3. I think. I probably set it at 3, and it's 4 because of the temple. I don't know. But basically, that determines like the normal sort of max Dominion strength that you can achieve in a territory. And Dominion strength, it doesn't like increase the effect of your scales or anything like that. And I also don't think it increases... Yeah, it doesn't increase like morale or anything. Dominion strength really is just 2 things. One is the amount of holy points that you get to spend each month, which are used to recruit sacred units or commanders, such as our black acolytes are sacred. And sacred just means that they can be blessed in combat, and they can benefit from our bless effects that we chose at the start. So Dominion strength determines how many holy points you get per month in a given territory. So if you have a lot of sacred units that you want to build, you obviously want a lot of holy points and thus a high Dominion strength. The other thing is essentially just due to these sort of spread it helps when 2 dominions fight each other. So right, so you're throughout the game you're basically fighting 2 wars. One is obviously the normal sort of physical war of units versus units and gaining territory and all that, you know, the traditional stuff. But the other is the Dominion War. And your Dominion is represented by this nice yellow border. So everywhere that you have this yellow border, that is where your Dominion has taken hold. So we've already reached all the way over to Oakland's here. We've got a little bit of our Dominion strength there, so our scales are in effect there. We can't see currently, we have no idea where any enemy factions are, like AI factions, but they will have their own sort of Dominion borders. And so our Dominion strength matters when those clash. Because we want our Dominion and our, you know, belief in our God, the true God, or, you know, the true God wannabe. We want belief in our God to be everywhere. We don't want anyone to believe in the other gods. So we want our Dominion to spread everywhere and to squash all the other Dominions. Because if a faction ever has no Dominion, like they have lost all Dominion across the whole map, they are out. Their god, you know, no one believes in their god anymore. They're done. That's called a Dominion kill. So that can happen to you if you are not, careful enough with it. You can get Dominion killed, as well as just normally killed. So you don't really want to skimp excessively on Dominion's strength. And even as, middle age Ulm, where we have very, very few sacred units. Sacred units are like an afterthought for us. I think we only have 2. We have the Black Acolytes, and then we have the Priest Smiths. And I mean, it is important. Priest Smiths are important for us because they are going to be our main spellcasters in combat. And I have read some information about good spells for them to get access to with their sort of normal setup, because they're always going to be Fire Mage 1, Earth Mage 2. They get no random bonuses. So, obviously, people have put information out online about, like, well, hey, if you get this and you get this, then you can always cast these spells, and that's really good. So, I am aware of those things. And them being sacred means that they can be blessed. And if we go to, there's probably a section somewhere. Well, here. So if we go, no, this wouldn't be it. Where are the priest spells listed? I have no idea where you can look at the priest spells, but one of them, the most basic one, even level 1 priests can cast, is Blessing, which blesses a small group of sacred units and activates your god's blessing effects, which in our case is reinvigoration +1, forest survival, mountain survival, and mostly we care about that reinvigoration to reduce our fatigue and allowing our spellcasters to cast more spells. So we don't really do a lot with sacred units. We don't have sacred, like, troops, or anything like that. And there are definitely factions that have a lot more sacred units, and they care very much about their blessings and their holy points and all that sort of stuff. So even though we don't care about that to a great degree, we still want a reasonable Dominion strength, because we don't want to be wiped out by a nearby faction that comes in with Dominion strength of 9 or something like that, and we're sitting here with Dominion strength of 2. It's obviously much easier for them to wipe us out Dominion, with Dominion. So I don't think I went with Dominion strength 2. That would have been a mistake. I think 3 is probably what you want bare minimum for every faction. But 4 would have been all right as well. Okay, so get that out of the way, right? The other thing that I was listening to is specifically about the boar and the similar sort of great beast or monster pretender gods, as they're known. So the giant snakes, the dragons, the boars, anything that's like a big brutish animal sort of creature. They're very powerful early on. And we've seen that. And Mangg can solo a lot of these tribes because they just can't punch through. So very powerful early on, easily capable, and they're what's known as expander pretenders or expander gods or something like that. So that allows them to solo and quickly chew up territory right at the start of the game without you having to worry about sending out your precious units, because it is relatively risk-free. But the downside is, one, they don't usually excel at spellcasting because it costs them a lot of points to grab different magic elements. So that's why we only went with Earth and Nature, which is what the boar started with, rather than picking up Astral and Water and Air and stuff like that. So they're usually somewhat more limited in their spell options, and they are also limited in their, let's say, growth potential. Because if you picked, say, that other one that we were looking at, the sort of big Titan, walking man giant thing, he'll be able to equip a whole slew of magical equipment. He can slap on magic swords, shields, armor, helms, boots, all that kind of stuff. And that allows him in the mid game and the later game for you to really stack like very high-end magic equipment on him, making him even more powerful and capable. Our boar, however, can only equip 2 miscellaneous items, rings or trinkets or things like that. So his stats and his, weapon, his arm, this is not going to change that much. His protection is probably never really going to go above 19 without some sort of buff spells that he casts at the start of combat. His damage and all this sort of stuff, and it's probably not going to change a great deal. So that means he's really good in the early game against the independents, these tribes and things like that. But in the mid game, once we start going up against other factions that have, say they're, warriors like I have, he's not going to be able to solo. And it's pretty risky to send him out because if he dies, he's gone. And having your pretender god die is not great because he is a big source, obviously, of your dominion spreading. It helps a lot to get people to believe in your god if he's kind of walking around, and not dead. So, yeah, it's just something to consider. There's no right way or wrong way to play, obviously. I mean, these are options, but it's something to think about as the turns tick by and I start clearing out more independents and meeting other factions. He is not going to be unstoppable forever. All right. So we've grabbed 2 adjacent provinces now, Scythia and Feral Woods. We're going to go ahead and throw 11 points into the provincial defense of Feral Woods, just to reduce unrest and make sure that gets cleared up. And now we have the option of sending Amalgade over to Trentspor to grab another adjacent province. Or we can have him start searching for magical sites, because we do want him to do that eventually. Obviously, the more regions we pick up quickly, the faster that we can expand our big army, which is something we do want to do. Trentspor has 110 militia, heavy infantry, and archers. So that's going to be similar to what we encountered in Scythia. We should be able to pull up stats. I mean, I'm mainly interested in looking at the heavy infantry. There's like 5 different versions that we could encounter. But okay, I mean, assuming we encounter these that have broadswords, they're doing 16 damage. It's slashing damage as well, which actually means it's going to be 25% higher because I'm... Well, no, that's only if it cuts through protection, right? So... 16 damage is pretty high for our pretender god. They also have 15 protection themselves, so that's not going to be an easy fight for any of my units, but for him especially, that's not looking too pretty, because the way that it works, it's not a D20. There are no D20s in Dominion, so I was mistaken about that, but that was just a guess. It's a D6 system, and I guess generally it's a 2D6 system, and it's not quite exploding dice, but it's pretty close. Basically, so for like an attack roll, you'll roll 2d6, and you'll add your attack skill, and the opponent will roll 2d6 and add their defense skill, and then you compare the numbers. And you have to beat it. You can't equal it, you have to beat it. So I think the way they said is if it's an equal attack, equal defense, you have a 46% chance of hitting. Because a tie goes to defender. So yeah, it's a d6, but if you roll a 6 on any of those dice, you lower the number by 1 to a 5, and then you add a d6 on top of it, and it can keep going like that. So you can get some obscenely high. So that means that basically any attack could theoretically hit a Mangg. And the same rolls are done for your damage versus protection. So theoretically, you know, a level like a basic ass little bitch with a stick could hit a Mangg and do damage. So it is always a risk to throw him into combat, but the numbers do get essentially pretty minuscule of odds, and you saw us against those tribals in the last one where he didn't take a single point of damage because it was just the odds were just too astronomical for them in the short time frame of combat to land a shot. So it's important to keep that in mind as their damage value gets closer and closer to 19. It represents obviously a much bigger risk. It's not necessarily that they have 18 attack, or 18 damage, I have 19 protection. I'm perfectly fine. I can never get hurt. It's like, no, you will very likely get hurt a lot. They have 10 damage and you have 19 protection. Okay, you're probably not going to get hurt too much, but you could. So I think Transport's pretty risky for him solo, but we will obviously have to take that at some point. Once we have a more suitable army. So then there's Redbud Grove, which has 110 Lion Tribe warriors and archers. That's basically what we just did in Feral Woods, so I think that's much more capable. I feel much more confident about that. So we probably will send him over to there. So if we click here, he'll actually go straight there, because he has 22 move on the map. Which this takes 19 to get there. So if he had less, he would have had to go to Ulm first and then Redbud. It would take 2 turns, but he can go straight there, trampling across the countryside, and it's all good. Yeah, because he has to go across a river too, so it's even takes longer to get there. But yeah, 22 map move. And that's specifically because he's by himself. If he was with a normal army, they'd be very limited in their speed. So solo, he can definitely zip around. So we'll send him over there. Feral Woods for recruitment doesn't have much. It just has the Lion Tribe, which we can recruit. The warriors, 10 gold each, 3 resources. They have javelins, hide shields, no protection, so they're entirely banking on their defense to avoid being hit. But 13 defense is pretty solid with 3 parry. It's not especially easy to hit them for like an average soldier. And they do have some javelins to throw before they get into melee, and nice length 3 spears. They're not especially accurate themselves, but 13 damage with pierce is not shabby. So relatively cheap. We can kind of amass 100 of them and send them somewhere. But money is a concept. You know, we could build easily. I mean, look at how many I could build every turn. Well, not that many, but yeah, that's how many I could build every turn if I want. And we could throw in a witch doctor here if we had a lab. And the witch doctor is a mage, level 1 nature mage, and we don't actually have access to nature magic outside of our deity, so that's kind of nice. and they can get a possibility of a different magic school. So this would allow us to maybe forge different magic items or do different rituals or things like that. The only problem is they're not very good at research, and they do cost 100 gold to build. So there is that. It's hard to say. Because this is a lot of gold we're spending when I don't have tremendous amounts of gold. So I don't think we're going to do that just yet. So these resources are going to go to waste. But, you know, it's always a balancing act. We want money, partly, obviously, for making our good troops, but also we got to be making buildings in various locations. We want to make more labs and we want to make more temples. Those all cost 600 each. So, yeah, not cheap. So we're going to leave Feral Woods where it is. As for Scythia, we do have a commander there now, Rethric. And, you know, Rethric is fine, but he could eventually be, if we get him some good gear, I mean, really not too shabby. He is mounted, which is nice. Increases his combat speed quite a lot. And there is a concept in Dominions called thugs. I don't know where the name came from or anything, but a thug is essentially a single unit or a very small group of units that are designed to solo territories. Usually, they are just designed to solo, like, empty territories that just have, like, the provincial defense, like a weak little provincial defense. So they can go in there, they can move quickly across the map, and they can just snap up territory that is vacant, or largely vacant. The enemy kind of abandoned it, which is a weak provincial defense. You send in your thug, and they re-grab it, you know, and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, Rethric, maybe could be a thug, but especially we could get eventually the Black Lord along with like 5 Black Knights, and that would be a very nice little capable thug unit. You know, really pretty quick across the map move of 16. And they're coming in with like 23 protection here. Yeah, 23 protection without any special stuff. And so, yeah, that would be pretty handy. Then there's also the step up, which is called the Super Combatant. And that's sort of what our boar is currently, where you send them into full armies and they can solo it. That gets a bit trickier as time goes on. But that is sort of the next level of the thug. And you know, is very much possible depending on your setup and things like that. So, for Rethric, you know, we're recruiting these light cavalry because much like those warriors, they have a short bow with range 35. They can keep pelting enemy units, and then if they do get into melee, they have a nice length 3 spear. They only have 10 hit points, and they don't have great protection, so they're not amazing, but 13 defense is okay, and they could benefit from a command such as fire and keep distance, and so they could keep kiting and shooting. So that's not bad. Their counter, of course, would be enemy archers. Especially if the enemy archers have longer range than our cavalry. Because we really don't have much protection from arrows. So we'd want to pick our battles with that setup, but that is a possibility. So for rhetoric, right now, we're just going to patrol. You could have him construct a palisade here if we had 1,000 gold, but like I said, we don't want a fort in any of these adjacent territories because we want most of the resources to be funneled to Ulm. I know it's a little bit of a weird system, I guess, but the point is that forts funnel resources into themselves, and so they are greedy, and we want to spread them out so their greed does not touch each other. All right, so that's what rhetoric is doing over in the capital city. We're recruiting our very nice amount of units every turn. And we are we're preaching with Henrik. He could move out and he could actually start preaching in one of these other territories. Now, you could go to Scythia and start preaching there. But preaching is mostly used to increase the Dominion strength of that specific region. It doesn't really spread. Like, Dominion spread chances per month is not based on Dominion strength at all. I'm pretty sure. We could send him to Scythia to build a temple. That is an option that we could do. Because we do want probably a temple. Ideally, in every single region, you want a temple and a lab. That's expensive, but it's nice to have. So that's a possibility. He can also search for magic sites with his level 3 priest stuff. So, yeah, we could do that. And he isn't doing much here, so we may as well have him march off to Scythia to search and maybe build a temple there. Gesseric, our mastersmith, is just focused on research, and I think that's still the most prudent for him. We'll also want him to... Yeah, both of these guys. We probably also want them to eventually search for magic sites. One of them. Probably Gesseric. But research is important for us to get our spells on. And then Lothar. Again, he's just a level 1 priest, so his preaching really is not going to be doing a whole lot. Because, oh god, where... I feel like I gotta look on the wiki exactly for that information, but... I actually had it up right here. Preaching Commander has a chance to increase Dominion in their current province, even beyond their Pretender's Dominion score, by 30% times the Priest's Holy level. Any points of Dominion generated by this cannot spread to adjacent provinces. Having a friendly temple in the province adds 0.5 Holy levels to the Priest for the purposes of preaching. If a Dominion in province is at or above 2 times a priest's holy level, including the temple bonus, their preaching will have no further effect in the province. Right. So, I think Lothar could go... Well, yeah, if there weren't enemies, he could go to Oaklands and preach there to raise it up to 2, but that's about it. And obviously, there are enemies. So, yeah, Lothar is just kind of pointless. He's not even... I'm not sure what to do with Lothar, to be honest. Like, his whole benefit, I guess, is that he can... He's not even an Inquisitor. He can bless other units. But... why? Who am I going to do that to? I mean, I guess... he's there just to, like, bless the priest smiths or the master smiths or whatever. Or not the priest smiths. Yeah, he's there to bless the priest smiths so they can have better fatigue recovery. That's Lothar's purpose. We're not going to build another one of these. If he was an Inquisitor, you know, that has its own benefits, because then his level counts as double or whatever against enemy dominions, but he's not even that. He's just kind of nothing. I don't know why he exists. I'm not quite sure. I mean, we could give him equipment at some point. That's about it. So he'll stay on patrol. They're going to stay on research for the moment. And Tancred will be heading over to Smacia. And that is everything that we can do. So that is our turn. All right. There was a battle in Redbud Grove. Yes. The Boar once again emerged quite victorious. They actually slaughtered their... So, all right. This is a big problem with archers, and a lot of people just kind of write off archers in Dominions as being kind of shitty and bad, and that's because of friendly fire. Archers, you know, you can't control them or anything like that. They will just keep firing, and it gets really bad when your melee guys get routed, because they're going to get routed first, most likely, and your melee dudes start running. No, the bad thing is when you rout the enemies. So you rout the enemy melee, and your guys start chasing after them, but your archers just keep firing. But they're not especially accurate, so they're basically just firing on your own men. And there's no toggle to, like, say, hey, don't shoot at routed targets. That's not an option. So they'll keep shooting, and it'll hit a lot of your own guys that are chasing after the routed dudes. In this case, it was probably just this big melee as all these warriors are surrounding the boar. And the archers kept firing in, and this was a target-rich environment, you know? So their archers picked up 14 kills. Somehow their warriors also killed 5 units, and that's just impressive. But yeah, the boar killed 54. They lost 70 total. Easy victory. And then the commander on patrol in Scythia killed 15 filthy brigands and troublemakers. Land is now safe and orderly. So that reduced unrest. We can see unrest is now at 0 in Scythia. All right. Excellent. Another epic victory for the boar. All right. So now we're in here. We're going to go and throw in 11 there. Like I said, Tressbor is just kind of iffy, and I'm not really confident about doing that. Maybe he could do Deep Forest, but, you know, it's a risk. You're taking a risk there, I think. And same with here. Probably could do Ramesia with only 30 units, but I don't think it's really necessary. So now, Amalgate is just going to be searching for magic sites. Because we want to go through all these and grab the magic sites, because those are pretty handy for, usually for generating gems. Okay, over in Scythia, we want Henrik to also search for magic sites there. Yeah, I mean, in this case, I wouldn't want Rethric to charge or anything. Not yet, at least. Redbud Grove, we can recruit more of the Lion Tribe warriors. And obviously, we could amass large amounts of Lion Tribe warriors. But we want to maintain our treasury. So now in Ulm, we have 3 mages that are all contributing to research. So we almost have construction level 1, and then they can start making some magic trinkets for us. We could send Lothar to, like, the Feral Woods to make a temple. That is something that he could do. Temples help spread Dominion, and every 5 temples built will also increase Dominion's strength. So, yeah, you want to just amass a lot of temples. So, I suppose that's something Lothar can do for us. We'll send him over to the Feral Woods. I think we're also going to send... Well, I mean, we want labs, but I want to build a lab where I have a magic site that needs a lab, generally. I mean, again, like I said, it's nice to have them everywhere. Makes things easier, but we only have so limited money. So I don't think we'll send anyone off just yet. But we did pick up a bunch more resources. So now we can get even more units per turn. I mean, we're really stack balling resources here pretty nicely. Something like that every round is pretty good. You know, I could invest over here in heavy cavalry instead of just the light ones. 14 protection. They have a kite shield with 6 parry with 17 defense already, which means they're very hard to hit. And nice lance with 16 piercing, or broadsword 16 slashing is also really good. They're pretty solid units, to be honest. I wanted to go heavy cavalry. How many could I get? 1. You get 1 per turn. Yeah, unfortunate. That's why we're going with light. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. Tancred's going to continue to sweep across the map and scope everything out, but that's going to do it for the moment. All right, we got Reconstruction 1. Amalgade searched Redbud Grove for magic, but he found nothing. So either there's no more magic sites here, or a more skilled mage is required to reveal them. And Henrik searched Scythia and found nothing as well. So, bummer. So that means we're going to send Amalgade over to Scythia to search that one with his talents. And then we can send Henrik over to Redbud Grove to search that with his talents. So you can see here, you've searched a level 3 priest to search for magic sites in this province. Here, level 4 earth mage, level 3 nature mage is searched here. There is the haunted village, which produces 1 death gem per turn. Not especially valuable to us. And we won't... Oh, we do get that. Yeah, so we do get that. That doesn't require a lab to be built. I don't... Yeah, I mean, we have it. So, I thought normally you have to have a lab to collect stuff, but I guess that's only specific magic sites. So they're just going to swap and scope things out. Lothar here is going to build a temple in the Feral Woods. And over in Ulm now, we've got our 4 guys all researching. But we have construction 1, which means if we go to Gelimer and type in, put in forge magic item, now we can see the trinkets that we can build. So we can build, if we had fire gems, we can make a fire sword. So this is just it's a weapon. So it replaces whatever your weapon is for that unit. So, you know, the rhetoric guy on the cavalry, he has a broadsword, but if we equip this on him instead, he'll have a fire sword. So it's the same sort of thing. It doesn't just like add stats or something like that. It is a weapon that they wield. So this one does 10 magic damage, which is nice. It has a +1 attack, +1 defense, a length of 1. And it says the offensive skills of the wielder are enhanced, but I think that's just referring to the attack and defense. But to make this requires fire magic level 1, which we have, and 5 fire gems, which we don't have. Now, I don't think that includes the discount that our smiths have. Oh, maybe it does. Or maybe it doesn't. No, this normal... No, I don't know. Right, so the Black Steel Sword, Earth Magic level 1, and 5 Earth Gems, which we have. It's reduced by 20% for this nation because of our smiths. It does 9 magic damage, 2 attack, 2 defense. It's just a very, you know, sort of solid, capable melee weapon. Its damage is not excessively insane or anything, but it's trusty, and hitting a target is pretty valuable, as you can imagine. We can't make any two-handed weapons or bows, but for shields, we have a Tower Shield, 5 Earth Gems, 23 protection, and 9 parry. So this thing is beefy, but it reduces your defense by 2, and it has 2 encumbrance. It's also a magic shield, which is nice. Then there's the Kite Shield, 29 protection. Insane. And 8 parry for 2 defense, 2 encumbrance. So the Tower Shield has 1 higher parry, but much lower protection value. You'd think that this would be swapped, right? Well, I mean, really, I don't know. I would expect 23 protection, 8 parry on this, and 9 and 29 on the other one. But yeah, it's very nice for survivability. Yeah, adding on 9 parry. Again, that means that if your defense is 13, as far as when you get attacked, your defense value will then get bumped up to 22. Meaning that it'll hit the shield. And I guess things that... I think your shields can break. I'm kind of actually curious on how that works. When an attack is parried, the shield's protection is subtracted from the damage roll. This added protection is not affected by diminishing return like normal protection. Still affected by piercing and armor piercing attacks. Okay, shield hits can damage or destroy the shield. The shield has a resistance, which is the same as its shield protection value, +5 if it's a magic one. The attack has a break value, which is equal to the damage of the attack before any protection. If the break value is equal to 3 times or more the shield resistance, the shield is damaged, minus 20% protection. If break value is 5 times or more, shield is broken. Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen with these fucking insane shields. A magic shield that is damaged will repair itself after the battle. If a magic shield is broken, it will be permanently destroyed. Okay. So, as far as defensive values are concerned, getting these tower shields on all our good commanders is going to be very nice. I mean, they probably already have shields. Like, if we look at Henrik, he does have a tower shield of Ulm, which is pretty good. It's got 19 protection, 7 parry, and it is magic. So, it's not too shabby on its own. But, obviously, the ones we can forge are better. Helmets. So straight up just 24 protection of a head protection. not that essential either, to be honest. Again, we'll go back to Henrik. He has the half helmet. It's got 19. And our full plate guys have a 23 protection helmet. Full helmet. So, you know, this is only 24, so it's not massively increased, but, you know, every point does help. So, especially when we can just kind of crank them out, there's not much reason not to have it on our big commanders. Armor, there's black steel plate. Gives +4 hit points, 17 protection on the body, -1 defense, 2 encumbrance, 2 map movement penalty, and it's magic. Yeah, not spectacular when I mean normally it's pretty solid, but comparing all our usual stuff, we already kind of give, you know, black steel to everybody. This is black steel full plate, 24 protection, -3 defense, 4 encumbrance, 6 map movement penalty, +4 hit points. I mean, the +4 hit points are nice, but again, it's not mind-blowing compared to what we already have. We can't forge any boots. For rings, we have a ring of fire, gives +15 fire resistance. Affects your mount as well. That's about it. So it depends on what you're fighting, of course. And the pendant of courage gives +5 morale, as well as your mount. I mean, you know, it's something. It's, you'd rather have it than not have it, but there's going to be a lot of things vying for our miscellaneous slots. Can't make any bardings, and no yearning artifacts are left unforged. So we can't really make much right now. The things that we'd really like to get are probably the shields. If we look at the black steel sword, 9 magic damage, 2 attack, 2 defense. We look at Henrik's weapon, the hammer. This is 7 attack, or 7 damage, 0 attack, -1 defense. So the sword would be a lot better in most respects, but it's not. The sword won't be piercing, which is kind of nice. But overall, yeah, I'd probably prefer him to have a good sword. So we can go ahead and have him forge the black steel sword, and he'll do that this turn. Everyone else probably still on research. There's still a lot we have left to do, but we can also cast potentially ritual spells. We don't get any with construction, but soon we will. All right. Are we all pleased with that? Where did I free up some more resources? Okay. Tancred, just keep moving. All right, that's it. All right, and there were no battles, no events, no nothing. I mean, there probably was battles somewhere in the world, but that's it. Okay, so now we have a temple in the Feral Woods, so that's good. And he can actually preach here to get a little bit of benefit, to bump this up to 3, I suppose. In Scythia, Amalgade will now search for magic sites. That's fine. And he's now up to 20 light cavalry. We're getting there. Eventually he'll be able to deal with the bear tribe, I guess. In Redbud Grove, Henrik will search for magic sites. And that just leaves... yeah, it just leaves Ulm. So we have our magic items, so we can go into Henrik. And, oh, that's right. So, labs are all connected. So if there was a lab here, he could access that magic item. But right now, it's either in the lab or it's with Gellimer. So Gellimer could actually equip his sword. Or not Gellimer. Yeah, Gellimer made it. So he could equip the sword he just made. And, you know, Adolf could equip the sword. But we'd either have to transport the sword over to Redbud Grove to give it to Henrik, or get him to a lab or back to Ulm. So it's not just a universal, just wherever you are, you can grab your magic items. Our dominion is spreading, as you can see. So that's good. We like that. We still have not seen evidence of a different faction, but they're gonna be out there. Interestingly, like, we're definitely... Like, you can see where the wraparound occurs here, so there's not... We don't seem to have much threats, unless they're, like, in here and they're very limited. It looks like it's all gonna be maybe on this other continent. That's probably connected this way. But I guess I want Tancred to keep exploring so we can see the whole wraparound. Looks like there's just ocean here. Anyways. So let's have Gelimer then make another one. Let's have him make a tower shield now. We're getting 5 Earth Gems every turn. So we can make this stuff for free, essentially. There's not much reason not to be making magic items. They are good. But research is still kind of the most important. We're going to get enchantment level 1 next turn. And we want to just keep cranking out these smiths. I really should be making priest smiths, though, shouldn't I? Because they're sacred. Well, no, but they don't get the random thing. And we're hoping to get some random school. We haven't really gotten... Yeah, we haven't gotten any of the random ones. It's very unlikely, but if we do get it, it does unlock, you know, a nice little extra smattering, maybe, of magic items that we can make with him. So we're still hoping for that, rather than going the priest route, even though they are normally better for, like, combat, because they can be blessed. Yeah. Alright. So we're just going to continue with that. I think that's all good. Lothar's preaching. This is all pretty I think we're all pretty happy. So that's the... Well, we did pick up more resources. That's increasing every month. I'm not sure exactly why. Oh, no. Maybe because population keeps going up? It must be related to population, because I don't know what else would be increasing every round. So I guess that's good. We can just keep expanding more and more units. We probably should grab some more commanders, like actual military commanders. So let's grab, ooh, yeah, let's probably grab a Black Lord. Why would I not want a Black Lord? So for right now, we're just going to snag that. Yeah, so I think resources are kind of trickling up here slowly. I mean, obviously, part of that's going to Ulm, but recruitment points are not going up, and that's mainly because I think that's based on having a fort there or not, which we don't. So places where you have forts are usually where you want to recruit. That's kind of the idea. Yeah, okay. I think we're done then. Alright. So we got enchantment 1. Henrik found nothing. Amalgate found nothing. This is really wild. And an unexpected event. Nature gems +4. Well, we like that. Okay. So, Amalgate then will head on to Faroe Woods to search there. And Henrik could also make the trek over to Faroe Woods, or he could build a temple here while he's here. And I guess we may as well do that. So we'll build a temple. So we got our Black Lord, Gunthamund. So he can actually take all these units now. So we're up to 75 between crossbowmen and our infantry. And you can throw in some dogs. So 81 units. And Henrik has 40 to his name. So that's a nice combined total of 122. That's more than enough to handle Trensibor. So maybe instead of building a temple, we sweep. But I feel like Gunthamund might be able to just do it by himself. It's worth a shot, I think. I mean, generally, numbers are your biggest friend. You want overwhelming numbers so you have minimal losses. We could send in with him, like, Gelimer. Actually, he can equip this stuff. Oh, he can equip the tower shield. Interesting. I wonder why that is exactly. Oh, can't be used by mounted troops. Doi. He wouldn't really. Well, I guess he might benefit a little bit from the kite shield. Yeah, he would. I mean, the 29 protection on a kite shield is very high. So he would benefit from the kite shield. But yeah, that black steel sword, 23 magic damage, 15 attack value. It's very solid. So I think we kind of want him. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be kind of leading the charge. So we could send in Gelimer. Now that we have Enchantment 1, he could actually cast spells in combat. We still don't have any ritual spells with him, but I wonder if Amalgate has any. No, he'd have to be on a lab to check. Unless I actually want to just check my spells. Wherever that section is. Well, lab. Enchantment. No. Enchantment. Alright, so these are all the enchantment spells level 1. The only ritual one is reanimation, which is a death spell to enchant 10 well-prepared corpses and give them false life. But we now have access to some fun stuff like Strength of Giants, which is going to be pretty useful. Also, True Shot, +4 precision for our archers. Very nice. Again, it doesn't affect many units. Both of those are area effect 1, so it's like 3 units per cast. But, yeah, it's pretty nice. We eventually want to get Gift of Giant Strength. That'll be area effect 3 with the strength buff, but that's a ways off yet. Other things that we can cast with our, well, basically, yeah, protection from fire, but whatever. And that's on the caster himself, so not too valuable. That's about it at the moment. We're gonna get Conjuration 1 next turn. That'll let us summon Cave Grubs. So we'll be able to spend 5 Earth Gems to summon 10 plus Cave Grubs as a ritual. So we're going to mass a small army of undisciplined Cave Grubs. They have to be led by a magical commander, which means that would be one of our smiths. But, that's another option. But if we wanted to send Gelimer into battle with Gunthamund, then we can go here and we can have him cast specific spells. Oh, you can also cast level 0 evocation stuff. Fireflies, range 30 plus, affects 1 person with 6 burning sparks, dealing 8 fire damage, armor piercing. Very limited armor penetration, will be ineffective against armored troops. Yeah, no, I mean, not super amazing. Well, I assume it's not all on 1 person. I think he fires 6 shots. Although I'm not sure about that. And then Flying Shards. It's 4 effects on 1 person. Or, again, I'm not I think it's 4 different units. Yeah, it says several stones towards enemy units. They can severely injure lightly armored units. So 7 blunt or slash damage. Damage is increased by 1 for every extra level caster has, which isn't much. You know, it's a combat spell. But mostly we're interested in Strength of Giants. We don't have access to True Shot because we don't have air, which is why we'd like to get a random smith that has a little bit of flexibility there. So mainly we just want him to cast Strength of Giants twice for sure. What's the range on this? 5 only. So, you know, our units are going to be set to holding and attacking, which means they'll hold for 2 turns. And that means he can cast Strength of Giants twice, and then they're going to go away. But the archers also benefit from strength. Their damage is affected by strength. So there's not much reason for him not to keep casting it just 5 times for the moment. And then, if there's still things happening, he can advance and cast other spells. But that'll be what he does. Our melee, they're going to hold and attack the closest enemy. Pretty simple. Ranged units will hold and fire at ideally enemy archers if they're available, otherwise whatever. And then the dogs are undisciplined. It's probably not even worth bringing them along, but I want to see them in action, so we will. All right, so for our formation, we're going to go with a nice solid line. And the crossbowmen, maybe a double line. Something like that. No, maybe they want to be further afield. Maybe we want them like up here. Something like that. I'm going to see. We're just going to see. And then the dogs, they're going to go immediately, so we want them to start as far back as possible. Because they're just going to start moving immediately. And then for Agiluf, no, that is true. If he's going to buff the archers, they can't be that far afield, can they? All right, we'll put him here. And then Gunthamund, not a, yeah, it shows you all of them. We mainly care about Gelamar, so he'll be here. And then Gunthamund will be leading the charge. So we're going to set his battle to hold for 2 turns. Maybe he's a lot faster than the infantry. Maybe hold 3 turns and then attack the closest enemy. We'll give that a try. I'm still obviously learning a lot. Okay. So then we're going to have Gunthamund and Gelamar move into Trensabor to attack. Fingers crossed on that one. We're going to have Gundamar then forge a magic item. We'll have him forge the kite shield then. We have Tancred moving on to Pantocrator's Legacy, another Throne of Ascension. So we have 3 within kind of spitting distance here. This is going to be a very contested area. There's 2 more up there, and then 1 in the sea. So that's going to be the trickiest one for us, because we're going to have to get mermen or something like that. I don't know. I don't know all my options. All right, I believe that's everything. So let's see how it goes. There was a battle in Trensabor. All right, we won. We lost 2 crossbowmen and 5 of our dogs as expected. And I can already tell you that it's because they very much reached the enemy first and just had to fend for themselves. But we managed to not lose a single infantry, which is very nice, which means that our crossbowmen did not slaughter our own people. That's a good thing. And what I read was that because the crossbowmen have the Arbalest, which is a very strong piercing crossbow, it actually has a pretty decent chance of harming our infantry, Whereas the sapper unit just has a regular crossbow, which is not nearly as powerful and doesn't really pose much of a threat to our own men. So I guess some people actually use sappers instead of crossbowmen specifically because of friendly fire reasons. But thankfully we seem to avoided that. Our Black Lord killed 4 on his own, which is not amazing. We're going to see that. But the infantry killed 38. Crossbowmen 18. They lost a total of 61. It does seem like they did kill one of their own somewhere in there, but let's take a look at the battle. All right, so there's the dogs. Ooh. 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 Oh, yeah, so they're going after the archers. That's important. They are slow. They only fire like once every 3 turns. It's a very slow weapon, but it's powerful. So that's why their precision is really important. Because if they can land those big shots, that's big damage. There's another volley. Boom, 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 boom. Not amazing, but they're shooting us, and they can't really hurt our crossbowmen thanks to all our heavy armor. So that's awesome. Our heavy infantry... yeah, our infantry doing quite well. The Black Lord, his problem is he just can't slip in there. All right, so... Ooh, point blank. All right, so their melee did bypass our melee and go straight for the crossbowmen. And here is where our armor and stuff really shines. We did lose a guy there. You know, they've got spears. They're reaching into our ranks and stuff. And our melee had to double back. So this was not an ideal situation. Crossbowmen are still trying to fire at the archers. And we do have short swords, but it seems like we're sticking with trying to shoot the archers. So this is the bummer of my formation and sticking the crossbowmen off into no man's land by themselves. It allowed their melee to just completely bypass our melee to go straight for our archers, and you want to avoid that. So that's why we lost some crossbowmen in the process. But yeah, okay. That was a learning one, and it was fine. We did lose 2 crossbowmen due to our folly, but could have been a lot worse. All in all, pretty nice. So let me go in here then. I think then I didn't know the crossbowmen would volley that much, so I think we do want them to be kind of in the rear. And I think we actually want the Black Lord to be off to the side so that he can kind of flank around a little bit. Wait a minute. Did our mage? Did our smith? Our smith die, didn't he? Holy shit. I didn't even notice that. No, he didn't die. Where the fuck is our master smith? Oh, he retreated? Oh, I think he retreated. Why would he... he got routed? Okay, he must have retreated. I don't know why exactly that happened, but... I'm really curious now. I actually want to... watch this again, specifically watching our spellcaster. Okay, so he buffs. Casting, he buffs. He buffs the archers. Buffs the archers. Okay, he's taking some archery fire. And then he just stands there. Oh, because of fatigue. Yeah, he's way over fatigued. Okay. And then he just leaves. Why is he... Oh, because he took a bunch of damage. Oh, he got routed. He took a handful of shots from the archers, and that was enough to send him packing. So he fled, and he went back to Ulm. Okay. So, yeah, sticking him... kind of by himself there was a little iffy. Yeah, I think we wanted to be a bit more compact and sort of nestle him amongst the crossbowmen, probably. Okay. Well, we still won, and it wasn't too bad, so that's all good. And now we control all 4 connected to Ulm, which means we can just get crazy amount of resources. Look at how many units we can grab per turn. Yes. Okay, excellent. I probably should have this queued up as this if I want to make a lot of Master Smiths, because that allows us then to get 1 every turn and a half. We're wasting the commander point as it is. Alternatively, we could grab a Black Priest, which would get also access to a possible other magic path. They do only have Earth Magic 1, though, but they are Priest level 2 and Inquisitors. So these would help a lot with spreading Dominion, and they can do a little bit of research. But I'm not sure I need to care about inquisitorial activities just yet. We do have another faction here. Ys, an aquatic faction, is going to be on our borders there. So that is something. And we can see he does have his Dominion there ever so lightly. So we will be clashing against this Dominion now. Okay. Otherwise, we can grab, say, the Master Mason, so he can start building up better forts in certain areas. Because, you know, once we expand past this point, then we're probably going to want to be looking at, like, a secondary sort of fortress to recruit out of. There's also the Lord Guardian. Honestly, could be a very capable thug as well. Hard to say, hard to say. Alright, we'll grab another Black Lord for right now. And I'm mostly pretty happy with our arrangement, but we may want to start switching over to Black Plate instead. Just for that slight upgrade in their defensive stats. So the flail actually gets 2 attacks per turn. And gets +2 attack versus a shield. It's a 2-handed weapon, so they don't get the nice defense parry bonus. But the Black Plate is very, very good. So honestly, going for just these flail boys probably can slaughter pretty nicely. Or we could make some thug units with Black Knights. You know, because you want to pick up a lot of territory. It's sort of how you win. So having a bunch of, I mean, you want your doom stack, right? You want your one major unstoppable army that you know you can point at just about anything and it'll win. That's important. But then you also want, you know, like I said, your thugs, that you have a few of them that can quickly move around the map and scoop up territory or take back territory that's undefended and things like that. Those are both kind of important to have. So let's nix this. How many Black Knights can I make? Well, yeah, they cost a lot of recruitment points, so that's where I'm sort of limited His resources would be going to waste with this layout. Hmm. Okay. Guess we'll go with that. I can always pick up a few doggies. Okay. Okay. So, we then have Huneric. Not much to speak of, but he can join forces with Gunthamund. Let me bump up the provincial defense here. And yeah, so here in the Oaklands, we have 100 Jaguar tribe warriors and slingers. Not gonna really fare too well against our nice plate. So I think we can probably take Oakland's pretty reasonably. Maybe with just Gunthamund as he is. I mean, it's gonna be hard for them to punch through. Should I just go for it? You know, the usual thing is if you can take over one territory every turn, at least one territory every turn, you're kind of on a good track. So, yeah, let's continue Gunthamund's sort of war. I wish he had Gelimer with him for those little buffs, but Gelimer can go with Huneric somewhere. Yeah, I mean, there's a city down here, Grainport. There's a settlement. So, and this is then the ocean. So we probably want to sweep all the way to get the rest of this. So let's have you two also head to Oakland. Amalgade. We have not searched here yet, apparently. So I guess search the Feral Woods. Getting Laria would be good as well before East does. But I don't want to send Amalgade solo there. I don't think your preaching is doing anything here. We do have Rethric here. He's got his nice group of 32 light cavalry. I wonder if we could handle the Bear Tribe warriors. They probably have javelins. Let's see. This music always just reminds me of the Game of Thrones intro. They do have javelins with range 11. But where we shine is in our kiting tactics. Range 35. And if we just keep moving back, we do 11 damage. They have 7 protection only, and ours are piercing. 12 hit points. I think it's possible. Fuck it, I want to find out. Oh, we have to go through there. We can't go across the river. And we are not taking on that. So, whoops, that's not happening. So we can't forge a river. We can't ford a river with mounted troops, which doesn't make any sense to me, but all right. Then I'm not sure what to make of Rethric's presence. 150. Militia, light infantry, archer, cavalry. Light cavalry. That's going to be That's gonna be a doozy, I would say. Henrik, you are fielding 40 troops only, so I think you gotta head back now and pick up some more units. I'm gonna send him back to Ulm. We should have some people do some more crafting. So Gundamar, you're going to... Oh yeah, we could do... Yeah, well, you're gonna forge a black steel sword. Childrick, you're going to forge that tower sheet. No. By making all mounted commanders, aside from Henrik, then we mostly want the kite shield. Alright. We could forge armor for, like, our priest smith or something. But, it's, yeah, I mean, their attack skill is pretty mid, so I don't know. But the black steel sword, it's not bad. It's not bad. A lot of decisions to be made. So we're going for construction level 2 now. Summoning ogres would probably be a nice grab, because we're going to have an abundance of earth gems. Just field 100 ogres. It's not bad. It's probably better things I should be grabbing, though. Personal regeneration for Amalgade. Okay, I guess. So we'll have Rethric just keep patrolling. And I guess that's it. Malgate found a magic site in Faroe Woods, the Enchanted Tower. There was a battle in Oaklands. We conquered it. 0 losses, and we killed half of theirs, including their priest and warrior. 27 slingers, 16 warriors. The warriors also managed to kill 2 of their own. So let's see now how this went with the improvement in our formation. Crossbowmen immediately just firing big volley. Picking up some nice kills immediately. So he cast Blessing on himself, I guess. Okay, now the slings get loosed, but they're going to have a very hard time doing any damage. You kind of feel bad for these tribals. We're just so far advanced. Okay, so there he waited 3 turns, and then you can see how fast he moves. So that prevented him from getting swamped on his own, because now he's kind of arriving alongside the infantry there. Boom, and now he gets a good position. Crossbowmen. Oh, man, that was nice. And now the big infantry comes in, already routed. Their melee. Slingers haven't landed like a single shot. They got their weird tree creatures doing nothing. And yeah, I mean, this is our big advantage. This is our strength. And we just cannot be harmed. And we're not, like, just slaughtering them wholesale. You know, it's not just like, oh, they're all dead. Because, I mean, they have 10 protection of their own, and they have shields. So, you know, they were probably missing plenty of shots, but they just can't harm us. Thing of beauty. All right. Excellent. Well done. Unexpected event has occurred in Feral Woods. Rethric the Pilgrim has joined. He's come to witness miracles in the temple of Amalgade the Rock, Lord of the Soil, Great Defender. A new famous hero. Stories of Gunthamun's brave deeds and his lightning reflexes are now told by bards and storytellers all over the world. Yeah, Gunthamun. So we can see here he has a heroic ability. Hero with this ability, lightning reflexes, receives increased defense skill. So his defense now is 20. Oh, he's thugging. Yeah, that's pretty capable, I gotta say, because with his kite shield, 26 defense. That's astronomical. I don't see numbers like that too often. And that's before I even give him that nice kite shield that he can get. Awesome. So that's all well and good. So now we have Oaklands, which also has another haunted village. There's a lot of those around these parts, it seems. Okay, and we can kind of see the somewhat connection here now. So you'll also notice that the land does change due to the season. So now we're in winter. And water will actually like kind of freeze over. And mountain passes will become sort of uncrossable during the winter seasons and things like that. I wonder, can Rethric... Yes, see, now Rethric can go directly across because of the frozen river. Isn't that awesome? That's cool shit. So, I mean, it's minor, but it's just so nice to see that represented. So he can cross the frozen river now with his 38 units. So Lothar is here. He could go into battle, but all he can really cast is Blessing, which is pointless if they are not sacred, which they aren't, and Pull from the Grave, which is only useful against undead creatures, which we're not fighting. So he would be basically pointless in a fight against Bear Tribe warriors, of which there are now 60 against my 39. That is pretty risky. But honestly, if Rethric dies and gets wiped out, I'm not going to cry about it. We also got a different Rethric. That won't be confusing. So this is a... what do they call these? Let me just Google this real quick. Right, so these are called heroes. And every faction has their own unique heroes. Heroes are national units frequently unique who appear in the capital by chance. They range from fairly mundane commanders to super combatants or super mages with a plethora of paths. Most heroes are specific characters and cannot arrive more than once in a game. Others represent a more general class of heroic people, such as a famous order of knights or those born with sacred traits, and can arrive more than once in a game. The chance of getting a hero each turn is 3% plus luck in your capital. Particularly powerful heroes may have a minimum turn arrival limit, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, every nation has their own... Let's see. So if I go to... And the inspector, go to MA Ulm. Heroes. Right, so there must be, this must be a generic hero. I think. not really sure. Well, anyways. So, yeah, he's not particularly great. As you can see, he has really no combat stats to speak of. He's got 9 hit points, so pretty pointless. He has priest level 1. He's sacred. And he has 50 stealth. Which means that he could sneak into enemy territory. I guess. So I could click on him and send him to Laria to sneak in. And then maybe he can preach from there? Which I guess has some sort of value to us. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'd like a much better hero if I had the option, but there you go. All right, so in Feral Woods, we found the Enchanted Tower. Produces 1 Earth Gem per turn. Hey, that's pretty good. So, I think that doesn't... I thought you needed a lab here, but I guess I'm just completely mistaken. Magic sites. Most sites provide their owner with gem income, blah, 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 blah. No, maybe I just misunderstood that. So what is the purpose of a lab then? Lab is required to recruit mages, perform research, cast rituals, and forge items. A nation collects gems from magic sites only if it can trace a path from the province with the site through friendly territory to a province with a lab. Okay, so that's pretty loose requirement then. As long as there's friendly territory between the site and a lab. All right, so we don't need labs everywhere, but right, so basically then all we picked up is an extra Earth Gem per turn, which is nice. We want a lot of Earth Gems because we want to summon a lot of ogres and make a lot of shit. So, good job, Amalgad. Can Amalgad solo Laria at this point? 30 Militia, Archer, Heavy Infantry. Honestly, maybe. Can he cast any spells at this point? He can cast Strength of Giants on himself to get even more damage. I wouldn't say that's the greatest buff for him, but it is a buff. But his strength is so fucking high, I'd rather he just maintain his fatigue. Could he solo? Well, theoretically, sure. Theoretically, if luck all goes in your favor, anybody could solo anything. I think he could. But is he better off searching Trensibor and Oaklands for magic sites? Probably yes. Probably yes. But he is here. Let's do it. Which means Rethric doesn't really want to sneak in there, does he? Probably wants to sneak over to, like, Sylvania. Because he can't go in the water. You see, Tears of the Pantocrator here, it has no dominion. Because we're sort of fighting over it. Maybe I do want him to sneak over there, just start preaching there. It's fine. Oh, Triton Sea actually has some... Yeah, you know, we're not dominating. Gunthamund, what do we have on the table? Grain ports. 50 enemy units, light infantry, militia, heavy infantry. It's a little trickier. It's a little trickier, but Gunthamund is the man. He could do it. There's also Baptizer with 30 Atlantean militia and shamblers. That might be a little more doable. But I can't go in there, can I? No, it's an aquatic one. Probably also with Antediluvian. Yeah. So those are going to be annoying to grab, but we could get Grainport possibly with my 74 units. We'd be taking a risk. Probably we wait a turn for these two to join up. In Ulm, we now have Henrik back in town. But we also got our Black Lord pawns that we can set up with the Black Knights. And I think actually for the thug lifestyle, you want 5 because only 5 units can guard the commander, and that's an important thing for them sticking together and killing stuff. So we want 5 guarding the commander, and then he wants to just attack. That would be the thug style. And again, that's really strictly for provincial defense. And we can give him the Black Steel Sword, which is probably an upgrade. Yeah, it is kind of an upgrade. We can give him a Kite Shield. And if I had anything else, we'd give it to him. But there you go. So, pretty good. I mean, it's going to be hard to hit. And these guys are pretty hard to damage. And they also have the Kite Shield, so 19 defense with the parry. It's pretty solid, to be honest. So we could send him to kind of swoop up anything very light, such as maybe this. It'd be a little iffy on it, but... Alright, let's send him to Redbud Grove for the moment. As for Henrik... Yeah. We're going to want to switch over our recruitment for the moment. I'm going to switch it back to kind of our usual good stuff. I'm going to throw out a Master Mason. Okay, I think we want a lot of these black plates, infantry. And then plenty of crossbowmen. It's probably what we're looking at. Man, we can get a lot of units. It's glorious. Okay. So we want Henrik to have the Doom Stack, ideally. And we can give him the Tower Shield. He's going to want the sword, because that'll be a nice upgrade. He also wants the armor, the full plate. That'll be a nice upgrade. Yes. So, Childrick, forge the Black Steel Sword. Gundamar, forge the Black Steel full plate. And then we can have Thresimund forge the helm. And that'll be good for now. The rest are still on research because there's still plenty of that to do. We could have, say, Adolf. It's still not letting me summon cave grubs. Oh, it can only be casting cave. Yeah, we gotta get ogres. Then we can start summoning a lot of ogres. Okay. Alright, alright, alright. And Gunthamund is waiting, so he will just patrol. There is an argument to be made for making a fort here, but I think I'd rather make it in Grainport. That might actually already have a palisade. No, I don't think it does. Okay. And Henrik will reach for the moment. Tancred, head down to Spring Bay. See the whole scope of it. Lothar, you are not really doing anything. I mean, I guess he could go in and just do nothing. Yeah, because he's... I mean, it's just... Yeah. Just go in there so you can... I don't know. Do something. Just do something. Okay. I think that's about it, unless we wanted to do recruitment of more of these guys, or possibly construct buildings somewhere. Oh, I think that's what he was going to do. He was going to build a temple here. There you go. That's something. Okay. Then, I mean, Gunthamund, yeah. Yeah, I could have Gelimar, instead of moving over there, I could have him search for sites here. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We want sites, we want more gems, all that good stuff, so we'll do that. Alright. See how it goes. Gelimar searched and found nothing. There was a battle in Wick Forest. We conquered. So that was our light cavalries with Rethric. He only suffered 2 losses, and he killed 30. That was well done. I gotta see this. We want to see the kiting in action. Okay, so they're moving up into range. They gotta get into range. There, the volleys occur. So, he's actually not targeting the... Yeah, okay, he's targeting the javelin users. Okay, yes. Look at those nice volleys against these very lightly armored units. And now they're fleeing. Retreat. And our commander, Rethric, you know, he's just sticking right with them. He's not going off on his own. This is kiting at its finest, baby. This is how it's done. Look at that. We build up like no fatigue. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. I assume eventually you run out of space. Yeah, right here, you run out of space. So you can't kite infinitely. And so this is where we're actually going to lose units. But it must have been not too bad, because this is right when they get routed. Oh, yeah, just decimated. Here's their barbarian chief. 29 damage. This is where the kills occur. But we got the chief routed. Now we just have these, the javeliners. And we just sort of win that fight. So many arrows. Good. I mean, if we had like 100 of these guys, it would be pretty effective. Quantity is a quality. Okay, they got some hits in, but other than that, I don't know why these guys are still... Alright, excellent. Yeah, I mean, we would like to have more room, I suppose. And so I could see an argument of moving them further up to start with. And Laria, the boar, yes, conquered easily. Killed 28 of 52. Not too shabby. I don't think we need to see it. We know what that looks like. No problems there. An event in Oaklands. Ooh, 2 fire gems, 1 air gem, 3 water gem, 3 earth gem. Nice. A worldwide event has occurred. Cold is unusually harsh this winter. +1 cold. That's a bummer. And we killed some filthy brigands. Oh, good turn, I would say. All things considered. And now we can see sort of the full scope of the southern hemisphere. I don't think we'll be able to cross here, even in the harsh winter. That is ocean. So Grainport is kind of the end of the road here. We can see East has their capital right here. That's kind of worrisome too. So yeah, they're going to control the oceans. Now, they can go on land. Can't really look at their units, but they will be able to just go onto land and fight on land. Whereas it's a lot trickier for me to go into the ocean. When I did my other, my first game and I was playing that, I did pick up sort of a kind of a coastal location. Actually, maybe here. No, not here. So I picked up a coastal location that allowed me to recruit mermen. And then I was able to use those to expand out into the sea. So I don't... yeah, so that's gonna... I mean, maybe the Greater Wild, I'll be able to grab something. Sea of the Mermaids looks like it would be sort of connected, but no, that's also fully aquatic. So I don't know exactly the best way to... I'll have to look that up after this video. It's not a concern at the moment, but yeah, that is a faction that is kind of right in the heart of us. Aside from that, it's shocking that there isn't much else. Oh, here's another one. Arcoscephali. They're right here. This is their capital. And we'll send Tancred in to scope out the capital there. Doesn't seem like they've conquered that much stuff, though. They're moving pretty slowly. We are against easy AI, which is pretty nice for me. But that's one of the big complaints about the game, though, is that the single player has very much a shelf life for most gamers, because the AI is just not that intelligent even on the most difficult version of it. It just won't utilize, like, all of its capabilities and stuff. There are some mods that attempt to improve the single-player AI, and I feel like I'm a long way off from handling the most difficult AI. But that's why most people that play Dominions are playing it for the multiplayer, whereas I don't like to play any game for the multiplayer. So I'm okay with the whole arrangement, I think. I'm hoping to maybe loop Lego into playing like a co-op thing, because there is the team version with the Disciples mode. So in the Disciples mode, you have teams, and one person basically builds like a full pretender god and everything, and then rather than having a prophet, the other players have a disciple, which is basically just a lesser pretender god. And so you have this, you share the same dominion and the same scales, but you don't get a full pretender god as the disciple. But yeah, so you can also like exchange provinces and trade with one another and things like that. Like you can trade gems and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. All right, I probably should end here. I think that's probably a decent ending spot, to be honest, before we delve into another whole turn. We have massive amounts of income. I'm really happy about that. We can start building temples and build up another fort everywhere. Build up labs all over the place. And we're going to have this Throne of Ascension is going to be one of our soon-to-do goals, because I mean, it's militia, light infantry, archer, and light cavalry. This is sort of what we're looking for, is something that can't punch through our armor too well. We'll want to have kind of overwhelming numbers, and we'll probably want to have the boar with us, because that'll be a nice boost to our capabilities. But yeah, once we grab the first Throne of Ascension, we'll get a nice little buff, and we're on our way to victory. Yeah, so I think this is probably somewhat connected. It's hard to say. It's gonna be a while before we get all 6, but I think we're doing well. I don't know if we can look at, like... Oh, so this is our nation overview. Interesting, I never looked at this. What does that number mean? What does that number mean? 31, 36? I have no idea. It shows you the income of each region, the unrest in any given region, the resources per month available in each province, the supply value, supply usage of everyone there. Oh yeah, so Amalgate actually provides supply. He provides 130 supply, which is fun. Are people suckling at his teats or something? Is that what that represents? The teat sucklage? Anyways, the provincial defense value, so you can see where you gotta bolster it or anything. Any sites that are in there, the searches you've done in each one. It's a handy, yeah, it's handy stuff. Okay, and then the score graph. Oh, look at here. Here's all the different enemies. We've got Arcoscephali, Pythium, Calum, Phaeacia, and Ys. And yeah, we just don't have information about any of the other ones and how they're doing. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Good stuff then. It's going well. I'm pleased with Ulm and how our boar is doing and our men are doing. But for now, my name is Mangg. Game watching has been Dominion 6. And I'll see you fine folks in the next part.